1, 2, 3. Idemo napred.
Artlist.io.
Zdravo, moje ime je Ruben Badalian I dobrodošli u moj novi podcast.
Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io.
Zdravo, moje ime je Ruben Badalian I dobrodošli na moj YouTube kanal. A danas je ponedeljak, 25. april 2022. godina. A ovo je moj prijatelj Petar Ruzevic. Kako si?
Odlično, hvala ti na pitanju, prijatelju. Super, nikad bolje. Evo, jeo sam prase, jagnje I pile. I ate three animals in total. So I've almost never felt better before. And I'm watching an Elon Musk's pop-up. It says that he has bought Twitter, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
Yeah, right here in the lower right corner, he's standing in front of an airplane or another terrestrial maybe vehicle. So he has bought the Twitter. So last time when I tried to tweet him, I passed over the limit of I guess 200 characters or maybe words instead. So I wanted to contact him because we are
like another potential guest on our show, or who is this?
Definitely, but primarily the original idea was that he was supposed to finance and support both financially and morally our book that has been published in Amazon, which is entitled Nikola Tesla, Third Reich and the Extraterrestrials.
Okay.
But the book speaks about the same topics and subjects that we're discussing over here in our show.
Yeah. So just a quick highlight for our audience. If you don't know what our show is about, it's called The Business of Languages and History, Posao, jezike, istorije, where we talk about like languages and history, like historical events and other topics. So yeah, that's what our show is basically about for our audience who don't know what our show is about. So.
Yeah, and secret esoteric history that has been banned.
Right. That's right.
And officially removed from the official educational tools and the school program. Yeah. Something you're not gonna learn about at your official schools.
Yeah, so, in our schools we didn't learn anything about like the occult, like the hidden history, like.
Yeah.
We were only told the official story, basically.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I just want to say here publicly, because it's worthy of mentioning, that it's not. I will reach Elon Musk later on, because he is about to support our hemp business, the healthy hemp business as well. And I passed over the already arranged number of characters in a single tweet, because I didn't know that it functions that way. And I wanted to contact Donald Trump, our former
Donald Trump? Why Donald Trump? Why you want to contact Trump?
Yeah, because as an American citizen, I am pleased and kind of obliged to talk to my former president that I respect and support. And nevertheless, it's worth to mention that that Donald's uncle, his father's brother, John Trump, namely, he was the member of the team that took part in researching and opening Tesla's safe in the wall, in Tesla's room on the 33rd floor of a New Yorker hotel.
Okay.
After January 7, 1943, after he passed away. So it was basically done in the presence of his nephew, Sava Kosanovic, and several other members of the FBI staff that were present that day over there.
Yeah.
And that was just a couple of days after the arrival of King Petar II, the son of the regent Alexander, who has been shot and murdered in Marseille, in 34. So, by a member of the Bulgarian Ustasha, fascist, organization, financially supported by Ante Pavlovich, and that was the English line, of course. So I wanted to contact Donald Trump to kindly ask him to promote our book about Nikola Tesla, because Donald Trump, our former president, and I hope to be reestablished as a president. I'm announcing it here. I'm using the occasion to announce his back in the saddle again. He knows a lot about Tesla. I'm willing to say that he almost knows everything about Tesla, because his uncle, as I just mentioned, John Trump, was the member of the elite team to research the Tesla safe. And some of those stuff have been, transported to the Krunska Street in Belgrade, and the basement of Tesla's museum, where they dwell, not to say thrive, even today, and they remain unresearched. And why are we mentioning all of this? Because it's worthy of mentioning that Tesla was amongst the inventors and scientists, the personalities who were involved originally in the baseline of the Philadelphia experiment.
Right.
And as we've just said in our previous show a week ago, he did his withdrawal. He turned back. He just turned his back from the project in the moment when he realized that the Navy and the secret government from the shadow is about to misuse and abuse the members of the Navy dwelling on the deck as the guinea pigs.
I remember you said that last time. Secham said,
of course that you do. So we, being a humanitarian and a philanthropist, he was rejecting to participate in a project like that, where the humans could be misused, and mistaken with guinea pigs. But we've just mentioned the names of the other attendees, the members of the project, the ones who were participating in project, right?
Yeah, that was basically U.S. government wanted to make that ship invisible, basically.
Oh yeah, the previous idea was to make that USS Navy ship named Eldridge visually, bullshit, to make it invisible for the radar, And instead, due to the multiplication and emphasizing of the huge, powerful, super strong and electromagnetic fields, uplifted one upon each other, it eventually became optically, visually, unrecognizable. It became invisible, to put it otherworldly. So instead of being invisible for the radar, it became optically invisible. So that was the first time, at least in the known history, in the newer history, not to mention the Atlantis civilization, who were already having that technology. That was the first time in newer history that an object, namely a military Navy ship, has become invisible. So it switched its position in the space-time continuum and was set back in the past and in the future within the short amounts of time, that were, as they were registered on the terra plan by the spectators, by the watchers around. So we were discussing about Al Bielak, alias Ad Cameron, right?
Yeah, that.
So he has written 2 books about his experiences. And in the meanwhile, after the year of 1988, he had written 2, the official books of his confessions, So recently, there was an American producer who has published a videotape, that has been later turned down into a DVD and a CD with this, recordings with this remembrances, the memories on that event. And that CD per se by itself is an extraordinary documentation containing 24 hours of the audio interviews with the Bielak, right?
Yeah, that.
AKA Ed Cameron.
Ed Cameron. Who was Ed Cameron? He was like on Koyepio. Who was he?
Well, we've just mentioned that in one of our previous shows, right?
Yeah.
And maybe
he was a seaman, wasn't he? Or that was someone else?
Yeah, sorry, what was the question?
Well, you said like he was working like on boats or something like that. Like you were saying like he was a seaman or something like that.
Oh yeah, he was a seaman. Nevertheless, he and his brother were, the staff members of the Navy, So I think we were already mentioning that ago, but maybe you want to make a recapitulation or a shortening of who he was, right? So it was really hard to describe, Al Bielak from the outside. From his outer perspective, he was vivid and jovial, and he was a serene, because just as he was only 30 years old. So he was belonging to the group of people that you encounter only once in your lifetime, like me, right?
Yeah.
Like me or you, or like Luke.
Luke or my brother, yeah.
Yeah. So he claimed that he was born in 1916 as Edward Cameron. So
not James Cameron, not the movie actor.
Not James Cameron, definitely not James Cameron, who's a very polite guy. Now, I personally know a girl who met James Cameron. Oh, wow. And she said that he was a very polite and easy to talk with guy.
Polite man, yeah.
Yeah, and nevertheless, he has reached the lowest point, the lowest terrestrial point, the subaquatic, point under the ocean, named the Mariana Trench.
Yeah.
That spans around 11 point 11, 1,023 miles, below the ocean surface. So he has reached the lowest point in a capsule, in a floating cabin. So he went there probably in order to shoot. I mean, not to shoot someone, but to make a record, to make a film about his experiences. So James Cameron is a great guy. Maybe we should discuss more about Avatar.
Oh yeah,
as a project, because it's profoundly esoteric, and the
a lot of hidden knowledge is in that movie. A lot of hidden knowledge.
Yeah, a lot of technology and a lot of esotericism.
James Cameron. He also made Terminator 1, Terminator 2, and the rest of the other Terminators, and he made Aliens, I believe.
Yeah, the Terminator 1. That's the year. That's my production. That's the year of my production, because
the first one came out in 80.
That movie and I were produced in the same year.
Yeah,
that's the year I've been conceived.
Yeah, the first one came out in 19.
Hey, how you doing?
Prvi film je u 1984 i drugi film je 1991 godina.
Yeah, that's right. 1984.
Da.
Yeah. But in the future, you got some movies from 2084. It will be interesting to see them.
Yeah.
And I will tell you how to perceive them. So,
Sto godišnjica.
Yeah, of course. And it will be a pleasure to see Arnold Schwarzenegger, a Khazar, who became a cyborg, and who's 140 something year old, right?
Yeah.
Who's 137 or 140 years old.
No, I don't think
officially and virtually eventually became a cyborg and immortal, because the AI and the Neuralink and the cybergization had made them immortal finally.
Mm-hmm.
So he not only speaks German and English, but he also speaks, Italian and Spanish and Enochian and the alien languages and the cyborg languages, because he is capable in the recent future, not so far away from this moment on, to learn the languages, more fastly due to the humanism effects, right? So he's conjoined and is plugged in to the universal internet, something that we've started in 2021, right? The last year was very important. So just it's worth mentioning that the Avatar will be our future due to the expansion of the VR and the AI technology that Luke and I discuss in our show about. We will be able to literally choose our reality.
Mm-hmm.
I've just received a message. Elon Musk has bought the Twitter, the Tesla director and the SpaceX Grandmaster has become the biggest owner of the actions, and it's been offered to him to be in the directorial assembly, which he rejected, and offered to buy the company for a small amount of money. So we're living in an astounding era. So Avatar will be our future, because we will be able to live in a video game if we want to. We're just the expansion and development of that technology.
Yeah, the first time I saw Avatar, I think I remember seeing that in theaters. That came out in 2009. That came out in 2009, I remember. Yeah, I remember seeing that in theaters, and I was around like 7 when that came out. So I remember seeing that in theaters, I believe. And then DVD or Blu-ray.
And those ones who didn't see it in the theater actually regretted it, although it's not necessary to regret. It's not worthy of, because we'll be able to attend and to participate in any event. I'm saying again, we'll be able to attend any event due to certain, techs and technology that we're about to develop. So we're and the Philadelphia experiment was actually the Avatar event from the 1943.
Yeah.
It was the predecessor event.
2 years.
A premonition, a presentiment of the Avatar realized in the atomic molecular space-time continuum. So Ed Cameron has made his PhD in physics on Harvard University, and in 1939, he conjoined the American Navy along with his brother, all together. Yeah. And even with, beside his own free will, he entered the so-called Philadelphia experiment that we're just talking about.
Yeah.
Allegedly, the first attempt to make a boat invisible on the base of Tesla's and Einstein's project.
Cool.
Yeah. So, and then he traveled through space-time continuum, and just I've already said here that in any temporal voyage, in any temporal journey, you actually don't move through the time. You move through the space instead, because time is the constant zero. So you cannot move through something which is the constant zero. You only switch the temporal momentum, the phasal momentum. That's the way I called it. That's my coined
philosophy, basically. Yeah.
Word for it. Yeah. Well, it's physics. It rather belongs to the field of physics than rather than philosophy, because that's the way it functions.
Oh, you can't go back to the past or go back past because it's a constant, or future because it's a constant zero.
Oh yeah. And I'm announcing here that our marital godfather, who is the temporal intelligence, has announced to me that he is about to make the first attempts of the prototypes of the time machine. It's just as it has been described in the H.G. Wells, H.G. Wells novel, entitled the same. So and then he traveled, through space in the space-time continuum. So Bielek says that in the final test, he was on the deck of the USS Eldridge boat when he and his brother were, set back 40 years into the future, and then turned back into the year of 1947. So there ain't no year in the nature, right? That's the revolving of the Terra planet or any other planet around the nearest star, and then we translate it and register it as a year, right?
Yeah.
So it's a revolution and it's a rotation. So we detect it as a year or as an annual period in order to make our lives easier to ourselves, right?
Yes.
But there ain't no such a thing like years. So how we knew that it was transferred in the year 1947? Well, they told him, right?
Yeah.
If a time traveler would enter right here, right now, into our show, somewhere in between you and me, he would be kindly announced and told that the current year that we're dwelling in is 2022, right? So he traveled from the past, from the Atlantis period, let's say, or he just sneaked in from the World War II.
Yeah.
The end, the war in the Pacific Oceans has just ended, or instead he came from the future. So when we observe the whole lineage, the whole thread of the temporal momentum, it is the constant zero, although the phasal momentum is removed. So even the moment when we entered the show half an hour ago, that's also the present time, although it's phasally removed. Our bodily positions are not the same anymore.
Yeah.
So you're in another body position. So what's happening at the time still? So the matter is changing. It's switching its positions both on the macro objects like the bodily systems or the stars or the planetary systems and the quantum level. So that's the point. The time is still and it stays as d constant 0, and instead the matter turns around and switches its position. It changes. The matter changes. All right.
Yeah.
So when 30 years after this conversation, when you stay in front of the mirror, or when I stay in front of the mirror, you're gonna say to yourself, "Oh, how old did I became? I'm wishing you to do the telomerization before it happens, because I'm speaking here about the eternal, preservation, about the eternal youth." Not the immaturity, but the physical immortality.
Yeah.
Because this is what Tesla was occupying with, and that was his goal. Okay, so just in the year 1947, the secret.
Dakle, on je dolazi iz prošlost ili budući.
On je bio rođen normalno u 1919. godini, ali je putovao u prošlost i u budućnost. He was traveling both to the future and to the past.
Okay.
So the year of 1947 was the year of the outburst of the secret governmental project called Montauk. You know about Montauk?
Montauk, no.
Well, yeah. So, and all of his memories were erased, deleted, just as you click delete on your keyboard, up on your computer. So he has been given a new identity, and since then, as a 2-year-old and under the severe surveillance and scrutinizing from the members of Montauk Project, he grew up under the name Al Bielek. So it's an astonishing fact, and we come again to the secret governmental projects such like Monarch and the victims of it like Kathy O'Brien, etc., etc. So everything that we're about to talk here, we already discussed about. So I just want to, and we were mentioning John von Neumann, and we were mentioning Albert Einstein, and Nikola Tesla, who withdrew, right?
Yes, that's right.
And Thomas Townsend Brown, not Werner von Braun, but Thomas Townsend Brown.
Oh, someone else, yeah.
Yeah, who was also a Khazar. It comes up here that the smartest guys upon this planet's surface are Khazars instead, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And that's that's about to be said more, much more about in one of our, further shows, to speak more about Khazars, because that's the essence of the, so-called New World Order. Okay, so we were talking about the Rainbow Project, you remember?
Yeah, Rainbow, yeah. Set up.
Okay, and so in the meanwhile, after the year of 1988, Al Bielek has written 2 books of his compassion. So, oh, beautiful. And, and it was containing 25 hours of the material of the audio interviews with Al Bielek, Preston Nichols, Stuart Swirlow, Duncan.
What type of name is Nichols?
You said Terry Nichols?
Yeah, Terry Nichols.
Terry Nichols.
Yeah, what type of name is that?
Oh yeah, you mean of course, the Oklahoma building and the Waco.
The Oklahoma City bombing.
Yeah, I remember that year. I remember.
That was 1995. That was
1995, exactly.
1995. That was same
time. He has stepped.
Yeah.
He has stepped up. Up the.
Oh, Terry Nichols. That was one of the Oklahoma City bombers.
Yeah.
and
large
Timothy McVeigh.
large material of TNT.
Yeah.
Explosive.
It was Terry Nichols and Timothy McVeigh.
And Timothy McVeigh. And Timothy McVeigh was executed later on.
Yeah, in the 2001.
And Terry Nichols was liberated officially because the charges were all dropped.
Yeah. So prior to Oklahoma, there was a bunch of like other attacks going on, like terrorist attacks throughout the United States. There was the first World Trade Center attack, that was February 1993. And then it was Oklahoma City in 1995. Then it was the USS Embassy bombings in Africa by bin Laden. And then it was the USS Cole
allegedly by bin Laden.
Yeah. And then the USS Cole bombing, that was a small US ship, and like terrorists crashed the boat into the USS Cole ship in Yemen. And then 9/11 happened. And then that was when the planes hit the buildings.
That's true. You know your stuff very good. Allegedly by Osama bin Laden, because the real bin Laden still works with and for the CIA. He works with and for the US government.
Yeah. So
I'm not speaking about, the real question about the Oklahoma building is why that building was blown up and who blew it up, right? But that's for another show, because I've read a lot of the essays and studies about that event too. And I watched several interviews, with Terry Nichols, who's the agriculturist now. Maybe we're gonna include him, to kindly invite him to start doing our ham business.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, if they're still alive. I've watched Michael Moore's, Michael Moore, the filmmaker.
No, I
makes documentaries. I watched Michael Moore's interview with Terry Nichols, which has been later on included officially into his documentary movie, Bowling for Columbine.
Columbine, that was a massive school shooting over there.
Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold.
Yeah.
But that's another story. Just let's finish. Okay, that's beautiful for our first shows, but let's say that it was Duncan Cameron